Happy holidays and a very Khornate Christmas to you and yours. Get out your flamethrowers because the blood god's coming to town, and the Dwarfs of Clan Angrund are here to bathe his warriors in napalm. Belegar Ironhammer hasn't been on this channel in a really long time, but killing chaos is what he's good at, so he's making a show of force, and the Peak Gate Guard Hammers will guard him with their very lives. Bertrand, the philosophizing chaos giant, ponders the secrets of the universe, while the Legion of the Crimson Skull prepares for war. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been killing for Khorne, so spill blood for Khorne's sake. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. Dawi gonna have their hands full here. Not the easiest matchup for them, but they've got the tools to win, and it begins and ends with Belegar Ironhammer, true king of the 8 peaks, holding down the center with his Peak Gate Guard hammers. Dude's got a pretty beefy stat line, and he is tanky, which is really important because it means you can actually afford to throw him into some pretty bad situations a lot of other lords would die in, and then just nuke the blob with artillery and flamethrowers, which is kind of going to be the strategy here. He's got his mighty O-Stone and Revenge Incarnate, which turns him into an absolute Chad as he channels the rage of his ancestors, and he's gonna need it if he wants to beat the brakes off a Chaos Lord and all that armor-piercing infantry. And Irondrakes, you know them well at this point, they're just oodles of fun in a bite-sized package. Hard to go wrong with drowning armored enemies in gouts of flame, but the Peak Gate Guard behind them are the linchpin of this build, one of the hardest hitting infantry units in the entirety of Mortal Empires. We'll be relying on their armor-sundering hammers to get the job done if everything else goes south, and a runesmith with the Jest Rune of Wrath and Ruin for the single target slow. 2 Thunders, 2 Slayers, including the Dragonback ROR. Pretty eclectic build. Lots of firepower there, but no artillery, which means we'll have to do some marching. And across the desert comes the Legion of the Crimson Skull. Using Ado's Khorne reskin for this battle, Chaos Lord on foot with a crapload of great weapon warriors, clad head to toe in warp-forged armor. They are a serious issue for most dwarf infantry. And Bertrand, the 500 IQ Chaos Giant, wondering why his studies have been interrupted for the 4th time. 2 Hell Cannons to cover the beaten zone between both armies, a bunch of Marauders, and a Chaos Chariot looking resplendent in blood red and bronze on the Chaos left flank. And for once in their lives, the Dwarfs are going to have to march towards their enemy, not the other way around. No artillery means no way to snipe out the Hell Cannons, just going to have to take the pounding on the way in. But cardio beats chaos, it is known. Let's hope the Stenty Legs can get them into melee before their army is completely in ruins. Dwarfs are natural sprinters, very dangerous over short distances, but there is a lot of ground to cover, and as the battle started, I was kind of worried for my Peak Gate Guard and my Hammers. Now remember, Hell Cannons do deal magical damage, which means they won't be quite as effective as maybe some other artillery pieces, but they can still pound dwarf infantry into oblivion, and when they hit a dead center shot in Hammers, Iron Breakers, whatever, it doesn't really matter, they're gonna feel it in the morning. I will say, it's a pretty risky play to bring 2 of them against Dwarfs. They have a huge profile and hitbox, which makes counter battery against them super effective, but invariably, it's going to work out here, because I have no cannons or bolt throwers whatsoever, and that means I have no way to actually shut them down. They're going to be able to fire as much as they want, and miners will be the first to feel their wrath. Chaos playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. So, risky play, looks like it's going to work out. I have no way to get into the Chaos back line. I just have no way to put pressure on them whatsoever. So they're going to get to use all of their ammunition, which means a lot of dead Dawi on the other end of that sticky, icky green ectoplasm, or pink, or purple, or whatever the hell color that is. But yeah, I mean, this is not going to be a fun opening for the Dawi here. They've still got a lot of ground to cover, and Chaos is playing it pretty close to the vest here. They're staying back. They're keeping their infantry in a position that can block charges, and immediately the Hell Cannons, when the Hammers get into range, are going to switch targets and go for the elite infantry, which is probably the right call. The Hammers are really the only infantry that are going to be a huge threat to the Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Belegar can beat the brakes off that Chaos Lord. Nasty shot from the Hell Cannon there. But besides that, most of the infantry grind should probably go the way of Chaos. They've got more of it, they've got more armor piercing. All of that is going to add up to a pretty difficult frontline engagement for Clan Angrund. Of course, they have some great equalizers here, which are the miners with blasting charges to get rid of all the meat shields, and Iron Drakes which can really just demolish any infantry unit in the game if they're given time to fire. Maybe Chosen have too much armor, but besides that, like anything else will melt when they get full gouts of flames off. Hell Cannons, though, going back towards those Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, and that's going to be a brutal shot in the center of their formation and just evaporate an entire section of that line. Innards spewing everywhere, and Khorne's pretty pleased with that shot. Yeah, he likes melee combat, but Hell Cannons are Khornate approved, and that napalm, it's wreaking a pretty terrible toll on both sides. Poor miners caught in the friendly fire, but probably worth it to get rid of all these marauders and slow them down. Now, ideally, you don't want to be friendly firing your own stuff, obviously, but it's going to happen sometimes with Flame Drakes. There's no way getting around it. And the Chaos Giant stomping right towards their position. They need to retreat while the Thunderers lay down some suppressive fire. They're a little bit slow on the uptake. They're going to take a few swings from that massive club while the Hell Cannons pound the handguns. And it's awkward for the Thunderers here because they like to be in that block formation. They turn and fire much more effectively that way, but Hell Cannons adore boxed up infantry. They do way more damage if they land a good shot. And this is a big mistake from the Hammerers. They got outflanked a bit. They did get their charge bonus off, but now they're really grouped up. They're kind of in a death ball, surrounded by the Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and that makes them a prime target for the Hell Cannons, which could be a huge issue if they take a couple more volleys from that artillery in the rear. Slayers are in the back. Rune of Wrath and Ruin going down on the Chaos Chariot will slow it down by 70%, and then the Dragonback Slayers can jump on top, but they don't have a majority AP. This is actually a situation where Giant Slayers would probably have been a better pick. They will rip through Chaos Chariots in seconds. Not so much with the Dragonback Slayers, who don't have a lot of armor piercing. Giant is still chasing after the Iron Drakes, but taking some withering volleys from those Thunderers. Now slammed into, getting his toesies chopped off by a bunch of angry Slayers, and the Hammerers getting in there too, doing a lot of damage to the Chaos Warriors with great weapons, but at the same time, the Hell Cannons are turning their malevolent gaze towards them, and like I said, they're really boxed up. They're in a big block formation, and that makes them a prime target, and my god, that is just death. Immediate leadership penalty kicks in, and they're gonna rout from the field. So those were poorly used Hammerers, needed to turn them much sooner, get them in spaghetti line, spread them out, and they would have been able to smash those Chaos Warriors with great weapons. But Belegar will roar his displeasure and smack around poor Bertrand, who's running now. And as he runs, he's gonna go right through a gout of flame and just get toasted. He'll drop, and he's out of the fight. Chaos Giant didn't do a whole lot here. Honestly, not particularly good versus Dwarfs, just a huge target for all their artillery and gunpowder play, and he had a very bad time. Belegar gave him the business, but Chaos is doing a good job of picking and choosing their infantry engagements. I think a lot of new players make the mistake of just letting their meat shields die outright, throwing them to the wolves. But any living Marauder unit here can kill off a full unit of Thunderers or Iron Drakes, or at the very least tie them down for a while. So he's deliberately avoiding the Peak Gate Guard, who are looking for something, anything to drop the hammer on, which is very smart. No reason to let the Marauders die in a fight they have no hope of winning, just feeding them kills. Only sacrifice your troops if you have something to gain from their deaths. Rune of Wrath and Ruin going down on the Chariot again. Dragonback Slayers trying to combo with that spell, and the Iron Drakes continuing to just melt regiments of infantry all day, every day. So goddamn satisfying to watch, and any unit that gets close is just gonna melt. They're doing a great job of layering that fire, using their cardio to beat chaos, create some space, and then just bathe them in noxious fumes, baby. And it's working pretty well. Infantry dying in droves. But there's a lot more Chaos Infantry than there is Dwarf Infantry left on the field. The Dwarf Warriors didn't do so great in their fights. A few of them did, but for the majority of them, just got run over by all those AP options. And the Hell Cannons are still firing. And like I said, no way to get into them to quiet them for good. Belegar fighting the Chaos Lord. This is not a fight the Chaos Lord wants to take. While Revenge Incarnate is popped, while his Mighty O-Stone is procced, it's gonna get brutal for this Chaos Lord. But the Peak Gate Guard, who are sundering his armor and making that duel even more lopsided, they're getting a little bit blobbed up around the Chaos Lord. Hell Cannons will want to shoot into them, missing a few of their shots, but they made some good ones too. Iron Drakes making sure all of these Marauders stay off the backs of their elites. But the Thunderers just took another big shot from the Hell Cannon, And right now, there's no infantry out on this side to help them out. Runesmith notices it, though. He's heading that way. Irondrake should be able to finish off these Marauders and get some help from the Dragonback Slayers, too. Clan Angrund just fighting a running battle in the desert, continuously trying to layer that defense, but running out of infantry, running out of bodies to throw into the meat grinder, and the Irondrakes are getting chased to the ends of the earth, while those Hellcannons continue to land some pretty nasty shots in the Dwarf infantry. Belegar Ironhammer is trying to his best to just hold down an entire swath of the Chaos Horde by himself, going in there and soloing them. Chaos Lord routed, took a ton of damage on slivers of HP, but is still alive. Dragonback Slayers will free their Irondrake brethren and get a ton of kills on these routing Marauders, and this is something they're very good at doing. Any unit that gets chased off, or rather routes, they can chase down, and with their contact slow, just absolutely destroy them, like the Irondrakes are destroying these Marauders too. They just shattered. Runesmith doing a good job of just tying stuff down, giving the Irondrakes more time to fire. Belegar on an island unto himself. He's beasting it up back here. Just clothesline that dude. Absolutely demolished him. Relieving these Marauders of their heads, and it's going to take them ages to be able to cut through all that armor and melee defense. His 60-60 melee attack, melee defense base can go way higher when he's got the Mighty O-Stone and Revenge Incarnate procced, and they want none of that action, so they're all just going to leave him and realize that he's just wasting their time. They don't need to take that fight. Now, the Peak Gate Guard are beasting on these Chaos Warriors on this side. Teeny bit more friendly fire. Watching it back, definitely should have watched that a bit more. That wasn't a massive amount of friendly fire there, but did a little bit of damage to them, and each bit of HP they have is going to go a long way because they have amazing armor and melee defense. They can last for a super long time in these engagements as long as I don't blast them apart like I'm doing to the Chaos Hordes. Filthy, unwashed barbarian masses. Take some flame, you douche-wieners. Enjoy that. And yeah, I mean, the entire unit is just basically dead off that volley. Irondrakes are the best, man. They are absolutely amazing to watch. I love them so much. Dragonback Slayers also being massive help this game, but the poor Thunderers, they've just been running the entire battle, and Chaos Infantry that routed off earlier, now coming back, pinning them in place, and they just keep coming. They just keep coming. Killed almost 1,000 of them already, and they are still marching my direction. Plenty of routing, but plenty more Chaos Warriors. That one's almost full HP. Belegar chasing after the Chaos Lord, and it looks like he's about to get into charge range. And one attack, maybe two attacks could do it. One will send him running, but the Peak Gate Guard are holding down an entire flank by themselves, and this is why you spend such an exorbitant amount of money to bring them in this matchup. They can be a big risk because of how much armor piercing Chaos has, but with their stat line, in an infantry grind, if you're not getting beaten up by monsters or artillery, they can straight up smash lower tier stuff, and honestly, they can do pretty well against Chosen too. So they're paying for themselves many times over right now. I'm only seeing essentially Chaos bodies on the ground, only a handful of Hammerers, because they're just racking up the kills left, right, and center, sending heads flying, sending arms smashing. They're doing a great job. What started with, I think, maybe 80 kills going into this fight is going to skyrocket up to like 120 in only a handful of seconds. And this is exactly what I need. Because if this Chaos Warrior unit is free, they're getting to the Irondrakes, finishing them off for good, and then it'll be pretty much up to Belegar and the Runesmith to carry the day. I think the Dragonback Slayers are doing okay in HP, but that's the only unit left on the field that is. Big rear charge coming in from the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, heroes all, every single one of them, and a Chaos Sandwich. Armor-piercing troops attacking from both sides, great weapons, just reaping a terrible toll in and amongst the Khornate Warriors, and they're gonna run. They're all running. Chaos is deciding to actually retreat from that fight, which is probably the right call. Unfortunately for him, Dragonback Slayers are screaming in from behind, and there's no outrunning them. And now when you turn your flank, your melee defense drops to 0. Dragonback Slayers get that contact slow in, which I think is like 12%. And they're way faster than Chaos Warriors base anyway. Soon as they get into melee, there's no longer an option to run away. They're going to get the flanking penalty, the rear attack penalty, and with the napalm coming in, that burnt contact effect, -8 leadership, that means Chaos Warriors are going to run, and then the Slayers can feast. And it's all the kills for them. Oh man, they're going to get so many kills here. Fantastic. Okay, so that's a huge win in that department. That infantry unit was full HP going into the fight with a Peak Gate Guard. Now, they're running for the hills, and they will not be seen again. But Chaos isn't done. They're regrouping on the mountainside, marching down, and getting ready to go back to the Dawi for the final engagement. Peak Gate Guard are on life support here. Only a handful of models in health left. Probably like 600 HP. The Hell Cannons have shot all their ammunition, earned themselves some juicy chevrons, and they're charging. But the Chaos Chariot going right up the center, straight to Belegar, who will bring the first one down with the Hammer of Angrund. This was too much of a YOLO play, honestly. Just hold on to the Chariot. Wait till your infantry's engaged, then go in behind. I'm not sure what the thinking there was. Maybe just got a little bit overzealous and overexcited. Throwing that into Belegar and the Slayers was not going to be the right call no matter how you look at it. Didn't have a lot of health left. It probably wasn't going to do that much in the scheme of things. But now, the infantry is coming in. They've got a full surround off. Imagine if that's coming in with the Chaos Chariot from behind. You definitely get more kills that way. Napalm going forth. More of those Chaos Marauders are shattering. Irondrakes will retreat. Belegar Ironhammer charging in. Runesmith charging in. Dragonback Slayers getting in there. And they're going to make their venerable ancestor gods proud. The Balance Board swinging heavily in the Dwarfs' favor. And it looks like they will be able to push back the tides of chaos and even kill some Dawi Zar for good measure. Oh, so many grudges have been struck out in the book today, and yet the Damas Kron remains full. Oh god, yeah, more Irondrake fire. Give it, I just want to bathe in that. It just looks so juicy. Chaos Warriors getting burnt. Hardcore, and that's going to be your game. Balance bar swings all the way in the favor of Clan Angrund, and to put the cherry on top, what was a gorgeous battle, Hammer gonna send some Dawi Zar heads flying. Chaos Dwarfs, eat that. Hasha, you penis. Got him. Got him! I really had fun that game. That was a really fun game. It, of course, wasn't the most competitive thing you'll ever see. I mean, it was a really close game. It ended up being very close. If he hadn't thrown his Chaos Lord into the meat grinder with Belegar, that could have gotten precariously close in the end stages of that battle. He obviously made some micro mistakes. I made some as well. But at the end of the day, it came down to only a handful of Dwarfs and only a handful of Chaos troops at the end of it. But just in terms of aesthetics and the units we used and the tactics that got used, really enjoyable battle. I think it was really entertaining to watch, which is why I brought it. And you know what? Sometimes I don't want to go for the tournament style play. Sometimes it is more fun to bring you these more thematic and just fun army builds, because at the end of the day, that's what we're watching this for. It's just for fun, and you get more variety this way, which I think is good. But in terms of the kills, Irondrakes were great that game for me. Got a lot of damage into the Chaos Horde, maybe a little bit too much friendly fire, which I'll watch out for a bit more the next time I use them. P-Gate Guard were just monsters that battle. Loved them. And you know what, for Chaos, the Hell Cannons were super interesting. Normally, you don't think that bringing them against the Dwarfs is the best idea. Again, they have that high profile. They're pretty susceptible to being counter batteried down. Same time, though, I didn't bring artillery, so maybe it was a calculated risk, and they got to shoot all their ammunition. Both earned themselves a chevron or two, and got quite a lot of kills on important infantry, and really made that difficult for me because my infantry, once they'd gotten torn up by the Hell Cannons, really couldn't hold back against the Chaos Warriors particularly well. Really, the Peak Gate Guard and that layered retreat that I did was the only thing that ended up saving me as we moved into the late stages of that game. But really fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.